Hello and welcome everybody to the Zealous Racing League Split 3 round. Quickly change audio output real quick for you. For a second there. Yes, we are live here for Split 3 0 at the lovely Silverstone circuit. So please excuse the fact that the graphics say that we are at Hungary. We are actually at Silverstone. Unfortunately, I didn't have time today to recreate the graphics. So, unfortunately, that is what we'll have to take care of. But we have 17 cars here tonight. Rodriguez, Pryor, Friesen, Lanchette, Schaumburg, Coleo, Collis, Zakharov, Light Guy, Twice, Yao, Friesen, Calvin Wolf, Cooper, Goeta, Santos, and Gold. So good to see him racing today. He was racing earlier in the Octane Online Racing League, but now he'll be racing with us here in Zealous Racing. So, welcome to the track. And on board right now with Mr. Pryor, Stuart Pryor. He is currently on, he has just started his first qualifying lap. We're currently sitting on a green track, 25 Celsius, with 22 ambient temperature. Pretty good weather, especially considering the fact that this is in Britain. 10:03 a.m. local time, or in-game time. As he seems to get a pretty good exit through the Beggett's complex, and he'll now be heading down that, I believe, Hangar Straight. Apologize, I don't remember the corner names of this track, but nonetheless, Mr. Pryor seems to be making good work at Aston, using all of its grip that he can. Seems to be on for quite a good lap. Let's have a look at someone else, though. We have Mr. Sean Collis. A regular of ZRL, had some, should we say, a vacation to do recently, so he has been out, but welcome back, Collis. Glad to have you here. As Calvin Wolf sets the first lap of the session at 1:59.949. Pretty good lap by Mr. Calvin Wolf. As next guy to come, as he gets demoted to third, as Light Guy is 3 thousandths off. As Zakharov goes on pole, 1:59.0. A lot faster than those two, about 0.8 of a second faster. Rodriguez comes across the line now. He's going to go 5th fastest, 3 seconds from that 1:59.0. As Yao comes across the line as well with a 1 minute, I believe that's or a 2 minute. The 2 minute 3.999. Got the 999 there, Mr. Yao, and your number is number 9. So I suppose it's your lucky day. Hopefully that luck allows him to improve on that lap, though. Otherwise, he'll be currently sitting in P7. As our friend Mr. Pryor here, he's currently sitting in P6 as he goes back to the pits to get ready for another run. Santos P6 now, and and Rodriguez moves down to P7. As Kaleo qualifies P5 for the moment. Currently, no one's having really an answer for Zakharov. Let's see if anybody can deny him a pole position here in Zealous Racing. We've got about 6 minutes left, which means a couple more laps will be completed before we call time on the qualifying session here today. In terms of Alright, sorry, I was just checking the stream, make sure everything was up and running. I will be right back. I must check something out. Well, it does seem to be the case that everything is up and working on the stream, so quite the good situation there. Everything working to plan. As Light Guy goes on pole position, he has denied Zakharov with a 158.8, not a very good lap considering the conditions. To 9/10 off, and Calvin Wolf 6/10 off, and Zakharov is going to be 2/10 off with his lap. Oh, Goeda goes pretty wide there. That's going to be a track limit violation as he comes through to the final sector of the lap. Fortunately, it won't really count for him, so certainly not ideal, but let's hope he gets in another lap that is representative of his skills. So, that guy currently still holds pole position. No one is able to deny him just yet as Calvin Wolf goes about a couple thousand faster, but not nearly as much as he needs to grab that pole position. Collis twice, Cooper and Gold have not set a time yet. However, the rest of the grid has, so we've only got around 4 guys who have not yet set a time. So Goeda comes across the line at 159.8. That would not have improved his position very much, if any. As Collis puts in his lap, that's good for 8th place. Not too bad by the Canadian driver. In the Lexus RCF, with Pryor following him behind, hopefully grabbing the toe for himself, because he's going to need it if he would like to improve from that P11 position. As Yao sits P10, Rodriguez P9, Collis P8, Friesen P7, Santos 6th, Kaleo P5, Goeda P4, Wolf P3, Zakharov P2, and Light Guy sitting on pole for the moment in P1. As Casey Gold goes 11th fastest, ahead of Mr. Pryor and Blanchette, and Friesen, Schomburg, Twice, and Cooper. So Toby Yao will be looking to improve his lap. As Calvin Wolf goes slightly faster, but not enough to improve any positions. Somebody who will be looking to heavily improve his positions is Mr. Zakharov, as he is going to be wanting to move up in that field from P2 onto the pole position that he will. Oh, he goes off! And Zakharov has gone off, just got a little too punchy on that lap. Certainly happens to the best of us. No shame there from Mr. Zakharov. As we'll now have a look at Light Guy, see what he's up to. Currently rounding what would be the final corner of the Formula 1 circuit. However, we're here on the GT3 circuit, slightly different. Whereas the final corner here will be the... well, actually, I don't really know what the corner's called, so it's a corner. But no, in all seriousness, though, Formula 1 circuit, the final corner is the corner directly after the left-right chicane, and versus here, we just have a fast right-hander, which then puts us in the lap. As Light Guy is looking to go through these final couple of corners. He gets on the power nice and early through that final corner. Let's see if he can improve on his lap and definitely secure that pole position. And it looks like he will not improve, but he still stays on pole. So, as of right now, Mr. Light Guy is your pole sitter. Let's see if anybody can deny him. Kaleo currently on the hanger straight as he looks to finish his final run of the day. Twice will abort his final attempt and will unfortunately be starting P16 here today, as Ferrier will be the final man to finish his run if I can find him, because this game doesn't want to cooperate apparently. He comes across the line and will start P6, 1.422 seconds off the leader. Not too bad of a run by him. I believe that's his highest, one of his highest qualifying positions in ZRL. So, we're here for about 3 minutes until the start of the race here. Light Guy will be on pole. Congratulations to him. Very good lap considering the conditions. Zakharov will start alongside him on the front row in P2. Mr. Calvin Wolf will start P3, and Gueda will start P4. And that will be your top four here for today's race. And as we look through the rest of the pack, we have Slim Friesen, Kaleo, Santos, Rodriguez, Collis, Pryor, Yao, Gold, Blanchette, Friesen, Schomburg, Twice, and Cooper. And that is your running order, or that is your starting grid for today's race. Let's ride on board with Mr. Light Guy here for the outlap of this race as we get ready to go to the green. Here for the outlap of this race. As also, Casey Gold, I just saw the chat. Thank you, no problem. I'm just doing my job. So, as we wait for the start of this race, a quick rundown of the championship standings at the moment. If I can pull them up very quickly here.
Seconds.
Just found them. Sorry. Mr. Elliott Watts, who is currently not present here today, is leading the championship with 154 points. Then we have
20 seconds.
Mr. Zakharov in P2 with 150 points, and Calvin Wolf is directly behind him at 126 points. Light Guy is in 4th, and Gueda follows him in 5th, on 122 and 110 points respectively. Toby Yao is sitting behind him on equal points with 110. And he'll be looking to go into 5th place. As following them, we have Mr. Kaleo, Friesen, Chen, and Santos. And that is your top 10 currently in the standings. So, good job to the those guys. Hopefully Light Guy, if he can grab the win here, will be a good help for his championship hopes. However, it is the same for Calvin Wolf, who is definitely in championship contention, only about 40 points behind the leaders. No, sorry, 30. I apparently can't do math today either. A lot of these guys trying to get temperature into the tires. Oh, Zach, yeah, that was a bit of a scary moment there from Zakharov. But, just to save it, you'll have to be quite careful with those tires. It's currently there and don't seem to be cooperating with them too much. So about a couple corners now until we go to green. We are... We have about 5 corners, I believe, left until we go to the green flag of this race. So as we get in our double file formation here and getting ready to go to the green, currently on the second to last corner before we launch this race. Light Guy will lead Zakharov to Calvin Wolf and then to Gueda. And that will be fight to watch, as all of these gentlemen are in contention for the championship at the moment. And any second now.
Green light.
And lights out, and away we go, as Light Guy gets a pretty good start, but Zakharov, I believe, got a better one, as he will contend around the outside here. Let's see who can get it into the... Let's see who can get first into Maggots and Beggots. It does seem that Zakharov isn't backing down, but he is going to be forced to back down as Light Guy shuts him down and says, nope, that's going to be my... Oh, Zakharov goes around! The championship contender is currently not on the track. Oh, God. And he's going to be in the back of the grid after that spin there. Obviously, having some trouble with heating those tires. This was not exactly the case that he wanted here. I don't know whether that just was simply just too early on the throttle, or whether that was a lack of temperature in the tires. Either way, Zakharov is not going to be a happy camper sitting in P16 now, as he needs to work his way up through the grid to try to claw back some points that he's losing at the moment. Friesen sitting right ahead of him, number 74, as Gueda and Wolf are currently going at it for P2. As Calvin Wolf got a very good start, jumping up to the P2. A bit of a quiet start, but he was able to maximize the potential there, as now he sits on the podium positions. Familiar sight on the podium this season. You would have told me a few seasons ago that Calvin Wolf would be in the podium positions at almost every race. I would have laughed at you, but Calvin Wolf obviously really maturing as a driver here in ZRL, and now he's doing extremely well. So very good by him. But Gueda might have something to say about that. Our Season 5 Split 2 champion. As I believe a car has gone off. No, that might have just been in my imagination. Regardless, Zakharov moves up to P13, so making some quick progress through this grid here. Casey Wolf with some very stylish colors on his Porsche machine here, racing machine here, as Pryor is sitting in P10, Collis ahead of him in P9. Rodriguez in P8, Friesen and Yao currently fighting it out for P6, as Friesen looks down, it looks on the outside, looks down the inside again, and he looks on the outside once more. And he's gonna try to go around the outside. He's gonna leave the space, but Yao is gonna say, I don't want you to take that position from me. And it does seem that Yao will keep the position for now, but going into the chicane, is Friesen going to get him down the inside? No, he's not, as Yao is going to block him off before he has the chance to take that inside line. It's a good battle by these two. Close racing and no contact. As Santos having a bit of a quiet race, a bit of a gap to the car ahead and behind. Good for hot lapping and clean air, but not so good for entertainment value, I will say. As Kaleo sitting currently in P4. A very good start by him. Saw him jump to P4 just off the podium. And the podium is in sight for him, as Gueda in P3 and Wolf in P2 and Light Guy in P1 will currently make up the podium. Light Guy's building up a 1.8 second lead, but if any race that I've commentated for has said anything, that probably won't last very long. Don't know. Maybe the first time a race that I've commentated for, somebody who's led on the first lap also led the last lap. I just have a weird version of commentator's curse. I don't know. But what I do know is that Blanchet and Friesen are currently going at it, as Blanchette is currently going under attack to Friesen, winning to battling currently for P12. It does seem that Friesen got by Blanchette, but not yet able to make the move stick. Zakharov sitting behind them P14, so it might have been a timing issue earlier when we saw that he was in P13, or he could have dropped back. Not exactly sure. Oh, and Zakharov gets really late on the brakes. He's right. Oh, we have a caution here. So who's that for? Not sure what that caution was for. It seems that everybody. Oh, somebody has dropped out of the race. Did not catch who though. It's certainly unfortunate. Zakharov is really being aggressive, trying to get around these slower cars, well, than himself anyway. At the moment, as he makes a hell of a dive around the outside there on Blanchette, and he will take position 13. Friesen is next target here. As Casey Gold doing quite well. Modest race by him, but certainly not a bad one. Currently sitting just outside the top 10. Let's see if he can grab a top 10 today. As Pryor will be his main target for that. Collis is sitting in a respectable P9. So is Rodriguez, Yao. If the computer switches to camera. Yao sits P7 after I'm guessing that Friesen got past him. Oh, it seems that the caution was for Light Guy. Light Guy drops down to P5. That's a hell of a commentator's curse. A real shame by him. It seems the caution was indeed for Light Guy as he spins maybe spins, goes down to P6 as Calvin Wolf currently sitting in P1. So that's looking very good for Calvin Wolf's championship hopes. As Gueda sits just behind him, about a second back, and then from 4 seconds back from them is Kaleo. Not a bad drive by him either so far. We do have 50 minutes left in this race, so anything can certainly happen. Light Guy currently looking to get past Mr. Slim Friesen, but with no luck so far. As Santos and Kaleo are currently battling it out here. Who will come across who will win that battle? I'm not sure, but the two fellow countrymen are currently going at it to try to get that final podium spot for the moment. Where I'm sure Light Guy will have something to say to that one. As you can see him a few seconds ago in the background there. As Santos gets a really good run out of Maggots and Baggets, and he will... he doesn't quite get enough because that Ferrari with that monstrous twin-turbo V8 is unfortunately going to outclass the Aston in a straight line despite the slipstream, and Santos is going to have to look for another opportunity later down the line to grab that podium position. This Friesen is doing a good job holding off Light Guy for the moment. But of course, with the consideration that Light Guy's tires are probably also not in the greatest condition. He will certainly not be thrilled with that one. back further in the grid, we have Sean Collis. Earlier, the gap has opened up between him and Rodriguez. It's Casey Gold behind him, and then Zakharov has moved himself up to P11, so he's currently making good progress through the grid. His next target will be Casey Gold. He's certainly one to watch, as if he can get a good pit strategy in, he might be able to take back the lead of this race, or at least to get on the podium. Calvin Wolf has pulled out a almost 2-second gap over Gueda, so lapping a few tenths faster per second, as those two are currently your top two, with Kaleo behind him and Santos. So if you're wondering, if you're new around here and you're watching this stream back, or if you're watching it at the moment, the Pro, Am, and Silver signs, also known as the white, red, and silver numbers next to the drivers' names and manufacturer logos. That is to indicate how many races you have done with Zealous Racing. So Pro means, I believe, 31 or more. Red means 10 or less, and silver is somewhere in between there. So, it's a quick rundown of the way we rate the Am, Pro, and Silver classes here in ZRL. Gap now is 1.2 seconds. Calvin Wolf not having the best of laps there. Gueda setting a 59.754, which is his new PB. I believe one of the fastest laps of the race at the moment. Zakharov has gotten past Gold in the meantime as we watch these two, and Collis is 8 tenths behind Rodriguez now. He has closed the gap slightly to the American driver. Tobiao will be up the road from those two. Will, who is seriously impressing compared to especially Hungary, is Mr. Friesen, who last week at Hungary did not have the best race, but this week is doing extremely well, sitting in P5. A great job by him. Let's focus the camera on him now. Currently also holding up not holding up, he's defending from Mr. Light Guy, and ahead of him, Santos. So I think if he plays his cards right, a first podium could be on the record books here. Or could be on the books here. Makes sense. Battles going on at the moment, except for between Santos and Leo. Ride on board with Mr. Santos as we go through into the Magnus Vegas Complex ISO codes. Next lap should be our next lap. We'll do a guide run of Silverstone circuit as he chases down Cleo. As Cleo getting a lot of oversteer there, and there seems to be a caution somewhere. I'm not sure where though. Oh, it seems that Collis has had a moment. Unfortunately for him. However, fortunately, rather fortunate for Zakharov, as that moves him up to another place. Let's go back to the Santos-Calero battle. It was just a tenth of a second. Last sector split, but now it seems the gap has widened. Perhaps we can conclude that Santos' attack was not as effective as he may have hoped. Quite unfortunate for him. However, he'll certainly have more chances to go at his fellow countrymen here shortly. But Friesen is right on his bumper here, and he's running at an excellent pace. As Light Guy is just behind those two. Oh, as it seems Friesen is going to go around the outside, or he's going to try to at least, and Santos is going to take the inside line, and Friesen does not quite have the grip to go and commit around the outside, so he'll be forced to back off from that overtake, and he'll have to hold down P5. The gap now between Calero and Santos now aggressive, 1.2 seconds. Just 2/10 separating Friesen and Light Guy. So Light Guy here, you went into the first corner, take a lot of speed as you can, but don't go too wide, you validate your lap. And as we come to Maggots and Bigots, you want to stay in fifth gear here usually with these cars. Go down to fourth around here, and then into third here, but you want to still carry as much speed on the exit here. You want to you want to go as wide as you can. So Santos does right here. That way you can take as much speed as possible onto the hangar straight. Friesen is taking a lot of speed in the meantime as they go around the outside. As he goes around the outside. Oh, but he's not going to quite get it done. You want to brake right as the bump there, and then you want to come into here. You want to brake nice and late, but not too late, as you want to have a good line and take the straightest line possible from there. Let's flat round here. As you use as much of that exit curve as it will allow you to. Into here, use the cork curve on entry to carry as much speed as possible. And it's flat for this left-hander for the most part. And then you're going to brake about midway through that curve, touch the apex, go around the middle here, and turn in the corner. Get right back on the power, and flat left-hander. So a lot of these on this track. Is this NASCAR? I don't know, but you want to brake for the sign of determining that there is a left-hand corner ahead in case you couldn't see it. And then into the right-hander, you want to take a bit of a double apex and match the throttle to get the best exit you can onto the flat right-hander, which leads onto the back straight, and then a lap of the Silverstone circuit. As the guy now trails Friesen by about the same margin as Friesen trails Santos. Just behind Rodriguez now is Mr. Zakharov looking to move up some more positions. Oh, that was a really close one there. But I think that Rodriguez is not going to put up much of a fight here. He knows that it's probably better for him to play it safe here instead of trying to battle Zakharov. And he's going to hand over the position. A sensible decision by him. Just looking out for his own race. Don't want to take too many risks. Sometimes in racing, you have to know when to hold everything you have, when to give everything you have. In this case, I think Rodriguez made the right decision by holding everything that he had. To not wear out his tires badly with Zakharov so that he could better maintain that top 10 that he's currently in. Santos is now 2/10 behind Calero, the closest he's been through this sector here. It seems that Santos gains a lot in the first sector and loses a lot of it in the final sector. Oh, that's going to be a really late braking move there, but I don't think that was quite worth it. He's still going to stick with Calero, just less than 4, as the light guy will be really having a very strong pace here today. 11 seconds separates him from third place car of Calvin Wolf will be looking to obviously take his first win, or his third win, I should say, in ZRL, as he did win 2 races in the Italian Job Mini Championship. Just behind Gueda, not just behind, sorry, behind Gueda, Escaleo, and Santos, and Friesen, Light Guy, who are all battling out for the final spot on the podium. Yeah, it was a little further back, but I'm sure with the right strategy call, he could get that move done. Zakharov, really the man that we've been watching all day here, spun on the first lap of the race, and now it has climbed himself from almost last to 8th position. Very good drive by the Ukrainian driver, and Rodriguez sits in P9. So we're a bit of a quiet, but still very solid race by him. As Casey Gold sits in P10 in that yellow and pink Porsche. Collis sits behind him in the Lexus. And we have Friesen, 2nd of blue, in P12. Quiet race as well for him, just outside the top 10. Makes the correct strategy decisions. I'm sure he can move himself into that top 10. As Pryor sits P13, brought back a little bit. Shede, also a man who hasn't been, unfortunately, haven't talked about too much during this race, but we're going to talk about him right here. Sitting in P14, trying to catch Pryor. Currently working on that as Pryor gets quite a poor exit through that corner, so she's going to be looking to take advantage of that. Schoenberg sitting behind him. Oh, he goes off a little bit there, making a little bit of a mistake. I think he's struggling a little bit here. However, of course, the journey is worth it if there is a struggle, so I'm sure as long as he's having fun during this race, that's all that really matters. And we have, last but certainly not least, we have Leonard Cooper, number 78 driver from South Africa. And he is just taking it easy right now. And with the right strategy call, he can move himself up a few positions as well. We have Calvin Wolf currently extending the lead from 0.8 seconds to about a second now. The gap is starting to stabilize between him and Gueda. That's certainly something Calvin Wolf will be wanting to look at here in order to make the correct strategy call so he can maintain the lead by this race. Sorry, a friend that was watching the stream recommended that I turn down the audio of the game slightly so that way people could hear me better. Hopefully that solves that issue. So, 35 minutes now into the race. We are currently looking at is quite an interesting race. As you're not required to pit in this race, however, since Silverstone eats tires so much, it might be worth it for some of these guys to take a gamble and pit in for new tires, see how much they can move up through the field. Some of the people who could benefit that are potentially Yao and Zakharov could also benefit, considering the fact that those two certainly have good pace, just currently sitting in a lot of dirty air and trying to get past some of the other cars. And as for Yao's case, he has potential to be sitting around P5. However, he's going to need some gambles here to get to that position. So I'm not sure what he's planning to do there, but currently sitting in P7 for him. So Light Guy currently still sitting as Zakharov gets past Yao, and Light Guy will be behind Friesen. Friesen goes a little bit wide through there. Potentially that could be a simple mistake, or that could be the setting in of tire wear, as that's usually where we start seeing the tire wear really start to creep in here at Silverstone around the 30-minute mark, as we have a caution, but I'm not sure for who. Well, forever who it is for, they seem to have recovered reasonably well. As Calvin Wolf now has a gap of 2.6 seconds, so perhaps it was Gueda that made a mistake and caused the caution to come out there for a moment. Obviously it wasn't enough to cause any position changes, so in the meantime, Santos is still fighting his countryman Kaleo here. The battle of the Brazilians. And Friesen is currently looking into that battle and saying, ooh, yes, I would like the podium as well. So, ultimately, I do think that this will be the case of who can preserve their tires the best. And I guess we won't see that until towards the end of the race, who's going off and who is on the black stuff. As Friesen tries another move around the outside. Didn't work for him before. I'm not sure why he's trying that again. But obviously, it could have just been under braking. He got more onto the brakes. So nothing, no harm, no foul there from Mr. Friesen as we come on to lap number 14. I believe in split one we had around 30 laps or so in the entire race. As Kaleo goes wide as well. Tires wear is starting to set in for some of these guys in the mid-pack. Obviously that dirty air from the cars ahead is not going to be helping their cause with tire wear very much, but they also are doing quite well to manage it once the tires are worn. So credit where credit is due. These guys are doing quite well considering the circumstances. Let's give a little bit of love to the back markers. Well, not necessarily back markers, just guys running in the back at the moment. We have Casey Gold and Collis Friesen, the brother of Friesen, who's in 5th. Pryor, who is in 13th. Bonchette Schomburg. As Schomburg goes off, he will have spun his McLaren. It's not an ideal situation for him. But he is going to get it going again, so of course that is what you like to see. So, job by him as Mr. Oh, we have another caution. Is this one?
We are halfway through. Keep pushing.
Doesn't seem like this one is very consequential in terms of position change. Apologies for my poor pronunciation there for a moment. As we have now Zakharov, who is going to be looking to join the podium battle from 3rd to 7th. That is an incredible battle we have brewing here. From all the way from 3rd to 7th are all battling it out for that 3rd place and final podium slot. So, very interesting race this has been so far. Exciting one as well. Light Guy leading from the start. Oh! Kaleo is off! And Santos will take 3rd place from him as Zakharov barely manages to miss the Brazilian driver. Really unfortunate for Kaleo, though. Certainly, he was holding down that P3 very well, and unfortunately has lost control of his car. It certainly happens to the best of us, but some bad luck there from the Brazilian driver. Hopefully he can recover to a better position, because he certainly had the pace there. So we'll see what happens with him. But it certainly will be quite joyous for Mr. Santos, who is now sitting in P3 on for what I believe is his first podium, although I'm not going to say that for certain because I have not looked at the statistics in a while. So that I will have to check. The 16-second gap between him and Gueda, and then trailing him behind by 1.6 seconds is Light Guy, and 2/10 behind him is Mr. Friesen, who, it really cannot be understated how well this man has driven throughout this race today. He comes back from Hungary after what was a pretty bad race to what is an extremely good race here, extremely good finish in P5 at the moment, having very good pace all race. And, you know, unfortunately, Light Guy does get past, but nonetheless, he held off what is the man who set a monstrous pole lap for a good 5 or 6 laps. So certainly, that is no easy feat by the Canadian driver. So great job to him. As we have Yao, who is currently sitting just behind Mr. Kaleo, as Kaleo finds himself once again starting to slide around a lot in that Ferrari. I suppose we'll have to see what happens with those two. Well, we have returned here to actually speaking, as it's my job, but just took a small break there for a second just to watch the onboard of these cars. Really nice to listen to. ACC's audio design is certainly one of, if not the best in the business at the moment. So, excuse me for that. However, we are going to switch back to the TV cameras as we have Friesen right on the back bumper of Light Guy as Light Guy switches to the inside in hopes of keeping that position, and Friesen will have to be forced slightly wide no harm, no foul there. However, as he does go... Nope, he does not try to attack Mr. Light Guy as they come out of the chicane and onto the straight here. So not too many battles going on at the moment here, just between Light Guy and Friesen, and that's pretty much the only real battle going on at the moment. However, we're 23 minutes into the 33 minutes left in this race here today, and as a result, nobody has come into the pits yet, as Calvin Wolf is continuing his lead in the race by 5.849 seconds. Quite the big gap, considering that just a couple laps ago it was only at 1 second, so, and it even dropped to less than a second. Not sure why Goeda's wipers are on. There doesn't seem to be any rain on the track, unless I'm blind. But those wipers are probably making Goeda blind, so we should probably turn them off. But not sure what's going on there, as Calvin Wolf continues his dominant form here in the race. Oh, he gets a little bit loose on exit there. Zakharov gets by Kaleo. Oh, he already was, my bad. That's not anything new, I'm just silly. Zakharov setting extremely good pace. Best lap is a 59.4 versus Calvin Wolf's best lap is a 59.4 actually. Never mind, 59.5 for Goeda. As someone has gone off, not sure who it is. Oh, it's Mr. Cooper. Cooper has gone off. But he's going to get that Porsche restarted and getting going again. As the leaders go through and start doing their first, as they start lapping drivers for the first time this race. Calvin will maintain a very strong pace, but he'll also need to watch out for that tire wear, as it is something that afflicts a lot of drivers here at Silverstone. Traction control kicking in a little bit there for him as we go back on board with Mr. Friesen. Certainly a battle worth remembering here. The David versus Goliath here, with Light Guy being an established winner and pole position holder now in ZRL, and we have the up-and-coming talent of Mr. Friesen. So certainly very good driving by him. Hopefully he can hold down that P5. Zakharov has done an excellent job to recover from that spin to P6. Well, that isn't exactly the exact result he wanted. It is certainly one that he will take home with joy that he was able to climb that far back up the standings here. And he's been lapping as one of the fastest cars on track at the moment, so I have no hesitation that he will likely get by the cars ahead at some point. Currently chasing down Mr. Friesen. 1.1 seconds is the gap now. As Friesen gets a little bit on the dirt there. Mr. Friesen, you're not a rallying driver, you're a GT3 driver. Don't forget that. But as that advice is quickly invalidated by the fact that now Friesen is having a real charge around the outside here. Can he get Light Guy? No, not quite. Light Guy just gets him. So the same move. It's like deja vu all over again. Which is really interesting, all things considered. However, all this battling between these two drivers has allowed Zakharov to start to close in on Friesen and Light Guy. Something that not exactly is an ideal situation for either driver, as Santos continues to hold down the podium, 1.2 seconds separating him from Light Guy. And Zakharov and Friesen is not going to have, excuse me, greatest line through that corner, and that's going to allow Zakharov to move up to P5, but still in a very good position here is Mr. Friesen. He's still at P6. Not a bad run by him as Light Guy, as he'll be looking to chase down the man that overtook him at the start of this race, Mr. Light Guy. And Santos is just up the road from those two. So, is it possible, really, in the next 16 minutes, that Zakharov will close up and get back onto the podium here? It certainly will be interesting, but I can't tell you for certain either way. Really depend on what Light Guy does and if Zakharov can keep it nice and clean. Ten and a half seconds now separating the gap from Calvin Wolf to Gueda. Calvin Wolf on an absolute flying race here. As he's coming up on another lapped car here. I believe that will be Casey Gold. However, I could be mistaken with that one. Oops, I did not mean to press that button. My apologies. Yeah, it's just behind him is Calvin Wolf. So, Calvin Wolf coming up on former teammate Casey Gold. We have a caution, not sure where in the field though, and it will be Mr. Cooper once more, having made a mistake in that Porsche as he parks it. I don't know whether he's planning to go back to pits and call it a night, or what the plan is with them. Oh, he's letting the leaders through. Actually, a sensible decision there by the South African driver. Mr. Santos now still on the podium places, holding a very consistent gap to Light Guy and Zakharov, as those two currently are going at it for P4, as Zakharov gets a pretty good exit there, but moves a little bit wide. We'll see if that affects his race, or not race, sorry, if that affects his pace throughout this lap. It does seem that he is doing quite well, though, against Mr. Light Guy, as he comes up almost directly to the rear bumper of him. And 1.5 seconds separate Light Guy from Santos. And 12 seconds separate Wolf from Gueda, as we have just over 10 minutes left in this race. Oh, Zakharov getting a little bit punchy there on the brakes, but this might be the change in position Zakharov needs to take fourth, but nope, he's not going to quite get the chance to make the move. Cleo still chilling here in P7, however, he's got Toby Yao as company in P7 and P8. This looks like to be an interesting battle for 7th position. Yao kind of having a quieter race. He's me staying in around the same position the entire race, but he certainly has caught up to Cleo and is going to try to overtake him in the next couple laps here. Got about 6 or 7 laps left in this race. Let's go through the Fox 10 minutes left in the race, because I forgot to do the mid-race report. We have Calvin Wolf in the lead, and following him 12 seconds back is Mr. Gueda, who following him is Santos holding down, and those will be your podium, and that's 12. He's happens to be 12 seconds behind Gueda, and following about 2 seconds behind him is Light Guy, and following just behind him in P5 is Zakharov, doing a good job after doing a good recovery drive from last place after the first lap, as Friesen currently sitting in P6. An excellent race by him, as we've said several times before now. Doing a very good job here today. Cleo once on the podium and now in P7, unfortunately for him. However, he still drove a fairly good race, and obviously mistakes happen to even the best of us, so there's no need to worry about that. We have a quiet race here for Mr. Toby Yao. Obviously not as eventful as some other races as he's done here, but certainly doing a very good job to hold down P8. Rodriguez sits P9, just behind Mr. Yao, and he's done a fairly good job as well, as Casey Gold in P10 in a relatively good position in that pink and yellow and black Porsche. Behind him, having a bit more of an unfortunate race, is Sean Collis, as he was well into the top 10 before making a bit of a mistake and dropping himself just outside of the top 10. So But following him is our friend Mr. Jason Friesen, brother of Justin Friesen in P6. He is currently sitting in P12, just driving along to his race here. So we have Mr. Pryor, who is currently sitting in P13, slightly behind Friesen, doing a good job there. Lanchette sitting a little bit further behind Pryor, as he's just been lapped by Calvin Wolf. Overall, not the most eventful race for him, but certainly getting that seat time and experience in is always important. Trying to find Mr. Schoenberg. There we go. My apologies. Third Ramrod Racing driver in the orange McLarens. Currently sitting at P15, also having a bit of a quiet race. Not too much to say about him. The fact that he's doing fairly well. However, it does seem that he's been struggling a bit with the tires today. And we have, last but certainly not least, Mr. Leonard Cooper, relatively new to the series, to Zealous Racing. However, he has had a fairly difficult race today, but you live and you learn, and certainly you don't become a better driver by not driving. So, by him to try out some new things here during this race, and hopefully better positions will come to him in the future. Guaita sits behind as the gap between, as Zakharov has actually gotten past Light Guy. I did not unfortunately see that one doing the 10-minute report. 3.5 seconds separate Zakharov from Santos. So Santos needs to hold on for just 7 more minutes in order to grab his maiden podium here in ZRL. However, myself in Season 4 in Split 2, I was also on for a maiden podium here at Silverstone. And unfortunately, as I was catching, unfortunately I had spun, but as I was catching back up to 3rd position, rain struck and I was relegated down to P6. So, an Lando Norris type thing, because I tried to stay out as long as possible on slick tires, and don't recommend doing that. However, it didn't quite work out, and I had to come in for wets. And, unfortunate for me, but hopefully the same does not happen for Mr. Santos, and with no rain in sight, it looks like the rain will not be as a factor as it was for me or Mr. Lando Norris. So hopefully he can hold on to that podium, and I'm sure he will, considering the fact that there's only about 3 laps left, and the gap is starting to widen. But it really cannot be understated how well of a recovery drive Mr. Zakharov has executed here, as the gap between Yao and Kaleo has increased to 12 seconds. That went from 8/10 to 12 seconds. Toby Yao might have made a mistake there, or whether he has just backed off to save the tires. Either way, very sensible decision if that is the case. Or perhaps to save fuel. I'm very familiar with saving fuel, as I ran out of fuel on the final lap at Split 1 the other day. However, Mr. Zakharov sits in a respectable P4, as he has started to close the gap now, going from 3.7 seconds to 2.9 seconds. But even if he closes at the rate of about a second per lap, he'll still have to contend with the fact that there's only about 3 laps left in this race. And now there is actually 3 laps left. So, certainly be interesting to see as Calvin Wolf storms his and continues his lead over the rest of the field. We have another caution here for somebody. Not sure who, though. Oh, it's Toby Yao. Toby Yao has made a mistake. I believe he was the one that made the mistake so I do think he made a mistake earlier. Or he misjudged the fuel and is trying to save as much as he possibly can. I'm not sure what the issue is. However, he is now in P9. Still holding on to the top 10, but not as high as his heights of around P7 earlier in this race. Does give Kaleo some breathing room to finish out this race in a respectable top 10 finish, P7 for him. As Calvin Wolf comes through too. Comes through on about 2 laps left to go. Ooh, that's pretty wide through there. His tires are starting to wear out. You can tell. As you can see, Pryor and Pryor and Friesen battling there up the road. Oh, he gets a little bit on the dirt. Yeah. Calvin Wolf will be coming up to Mr. Pryor soon here. 16-second gap, so there isn't much of a reason to take a gamble on those lap cars. 2.4 seconds now separate the gap between Santos and Zakharov as Mr. Slim Friesen is still going at it with that guy. Dang, this has just been a constant battle all race. And honestly, I think this one might actually come down to... Oh, and he's going around the outside again. He really needs to try to gamble and try to forcibly grab that inside from Ike Guy. As Slim Friesen goes around the outside, he's taking no prisoners here. However, and he does it. He goes around the outside, but he does exceed track limits. We'll have to see what the stewards say about that. And Friesen has gone into P5. An excellent overtake by the Canadian driver. Very nice positioning of the car there. Wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it work around the outside, but he of course proved me wrong. So congratulations there to Mr. Friesen. You are now in P5. Oh, as Blanchette spins right in front of them. That was a bit of a scary moment. Code Brown, if you will. But Zakharov gets a bit too much on the curb there. Not wanting to unsell the car, but he is trying to push to catch up to Santos. But I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time. As shortly here, we'll be hearing from the engineer that there is 1 lap left in this race. In the meantime, we do have Toby Yao, who's 2/10 back on Rodriguez, so it does look like Yao is going to try to go for grabbing another position here into P8. And a Porsche driver trying to hunt down an Aston. As you can see, Casey Gold in the background there. About 4 seconds separating Yao and Gold. Seconds left now on the clock as we see this race wind down to a close, and the drivers will be looking to take their last positions or defend their positions for the remainder of this race. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think Zakharov has enough to challenge Santos for the podium. He might be able to. He is in striking distance if Santos makes a mistake, which certainly hope he does not. But if he does make a mistake, it certainly is possible that Zakharov could grab that podium back from earlier. As we now have 0 seconds on the clock, Calvin Wolf passes the timing line for this final lap. We will get the confirmation from the engineer as Cooper has gone off. Yeah, Blanchette is spun. And Calvin Wolf finishes the race And he is your victor here today, as he does a pretty weak burnout, not gonna lie. Come on. Yeah, there you go. Nice job to Calvin Wolf here today, controlling the pace throughout the entire race. An excellent job by the Canadian driver, as Gueda sits in a very good P2, and Santos does take the podium. Zakharov 4.6 seconds behind him. So excellent drive by Mr. Santos, cannot be understated. And so is Friesen, and like guy obviously doing a decent job of recovering from, but still a far cry from the first position. So now we're going to move on to post-race interviews in just a moment here. Gentlemen, can I grab Calvin Wolf, Gueda, and Santos and put you guys in the interview room if you don't mind? If you don't want to, just let me know. I'll just take whichever ones you want to. Good race. Let me, if you'd like to take an interview, please head to the interview booth so I can interview you. But if you would not like to, that's fine as well.
Green line, give it all you got.
So, Calvin Wolf, congratulations on the victory today. Very dominant performance after that crazy first couple of laps. What do you make of what's the secret here for that Silverstone domination that you had today?
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to win today, but I've seen those couple accidents in front of me in the beginning, and it was just consistency after that. Just kept hitting my marks, put in the laps.
Yep, obviously, very good drive today. So obviously, the gap between you and Gueda about 10-15 laps in was starting to close. And then it started to open up fastly, sorry, not fastly, that's not a word, quickly. So, did you see what happened to Gueda? Because we weren't able to catch what happened. Was it the tire? Do you think it was the tires, or do you think he made some sort of mistake and was starting to drop back?
It could have been the tires. I know the Bentley's not really nice on them. And there was a couple corners that he was getting loose in the rear. Other than that, I didn't see what happened. I think I was just getting a tenth faster than him every lap, chunks away or bit by bit. Yep.
Yeah, it was a very good race there. I believe that puts you much closer to the championship now, as Zakharov finished P4 and Santos took his first podium, I believe. So obviously, very good victory today. Congratulations, Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, thank you, and congrats to everybody. It was a good race.
Yeah, indeed it was. It was fun for commentate over. Some parts of it were a bit boring when the gaps were about 4 seconds between everybody, but towards the end, everybody started to close up a bit more, and there was a bit more action to go on. So, yep. Thank you for everybody who came out to watch the stream today. I guess like and subscribe or do whatever YouTubers do. I'm not really sure anymore. But yeah, congratulations everybody, and have a good night.